Well, hello. Today I'm going to quickly show you how I make a brew. Obviously, I use Beersmith. I've actually set my recipe up to use a style of a amber keller beer, but I am actually going to be making just a normal British beer. Um, I've got a bit of restriction. I've only got so much pale malts. I need to grind some more, and I've got a grinder at the moment. So I've got about 2.3 kilograms of pale malt at the moment. I've also got a kilogram of Pilsner malt, and I've got plenty of Munich. So obviously I want to get a bit of a amber colour, so I'm getting my amber colours from the Munich, and I'm just tossing because I want to make something which is quite light, so I'm just tossing some Pilsner malt in there as well to get my colours correct. Okay, so I'm just looking at my brewing inventory. I just want to find out the IBU of the Pilsner, which I'm just about to add in now. It's obviously a little bit lighter than the recommended IBUs, and so I've got both those figures, and I'm just checking over a few things there. Right. So the next thing I'm going to do is to add the Munich. I think it's in a German style. So I'll just add those figures. Okay, so what I'm doing at the moment, I'm just looking at my my OG, and it's quite high at the moment. It's coming as an ABV of 7.2%. So what I want to do is just to actually just bring that back a bit. So it's I just want to have it slightly sessionable, something like about 5%. So I'm just going to fiddle around these figures now and just about looks obviously in the correct range for the original gravity. One thing to note, I'm actually making a 21 litre batch. I just want to have a final gravity of something, so I want to have a final volume of about 19 litres at the end. So they're going to be, and obviously for my Cornelius kegs. So what I've done is actually lowered the brew volume down a bit. Okay, so I'm just going to add some yeast. I've got Sapphire 04. I made a brew the other week, and I've got some dregs from the old brew, which with the benefit of the high side, I made quite. It actually managed to ferment out within 24 hours, so there's quite a lot of yeast in there. So that's what I did, and I'm just actually tweaking the ABV now. As you can see, it's starting to get close to what I'm looking for. Okay, so I'm quite happy with that so far. What I'm going to do now is to add some hops. I've got Target. I'm just going to bitter a Target. This is very experimental. I've never tried Target before, but it's quite a well used bittering hop in the UK. And I'm just changing the bitterness alpha acids on this, and obviously telling it the system that it's a leaf hop. Okay, so I'll just do a little bit of some adjustments now to get the IBUs in a range that is quite acceptable for this style. Okay, so it's a little bit high, so I'm just going to, obviously I'm just going to change that down to, I think eventually I change that to about 25. So there we go. So I did faff around quite a lot doing it. Okay, so I've got Cascade as well. I've got some British Cascade grown by a friend of mine. I don't know what the IBU is, so I'm just going to stick it at the very lowest alpha acid level, which is about 4. If it's a bit higher, I don't really care so much, but I want to have a little bit. I want to factor in a little bit for that. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to carry on adding Cascade until I've got the right volumes that I want. What I really want out of the Cascade is aroma. One thing you may notice that as I put the alpha acid slightly high there, and that is a mistake. Eventually I go for something like 15 grams for the last 15 minutes, 15 grams at flame out, and something like, I think 40 grams in the whirlpool for about 20 minutes. And because it's obviously a very cascadey theme, I also toss a load of Cascade to dry hop at the end. Well, dry hop after 5 days at the end as well. Okay, so I think I've made my mind up here. So the next thing I think I'm going to move on to is the let's have a look. Yes, I'm just going to stick my dry hops in. So obviously there's a slight afterthought as I was doing my design, but since I've got plenty, I will. What I really want, that's hop aroma. So I popped loads in there. So I'm going to take 80 grams in for 5 days. Okay, so I think I've got the right colour I'm after. I'm just going to adjust my mash temperature to about 66 centigrade. And what you may find is that once you go back now to the design, which I'll go to now, the ABV is actually now dropped down to about 5.1. It was originally 5.2, and what I did notice in the end is that the amount of Maris Otter I had was lower than what I was expecting. So it was about 5 in the end, ABV. So I'm just going to go to the Grainfather website. I'm just going to go to their sparge water calculator here and put my batch volume in, which is going to be 21 litres. And I'm going to slap in my total grain bill as well, which is about 4 point something, 4.6. So it gives me two values, my mash water and my sparge water volumes, which I will now transpose into my notes. Now this styling seems to have got pulled into this page here. I think maybe it'd be quite good if the system would actually just normalize the text when it gets pasted in. But I'm sure Brad will be looking at that sometime in the future. Perhaps he'll be doing it in his new version, which is coming out soon. Okay, I'm just going to work out my water additions now. So do it slightly back to front, but I'm going to enter what grains I've got in my brew first. So I'm sticking the Pilsner and the Munich and the Maris Otter weights. Okay, so the last brew I made, I actually used some diluted water, but what I need to do is to stick my local water authorities statistics on the local water into this calculator. So I've got the figures now in a spreadsheet, and I'm just going to take the average result, which is the bold column here, and copy these figures into the calculator here. I will then faff around for about 10 minutes trying to work out how to actually type details excuse me, into this into this field, which I'll eventually work out how to do. Maybe not. I think I'm going to get it. There we are. Okay, so I'll continue adding the rest of these figures. So I mean, if you use this spreadsheet and you do stick your figures in, I think it's only a one-time action really once you've done that. And if you don't, if you're not doing anything special with your brew, like I was making a Pilsner, so I had to water it down, but if you're not doing anything special, you can basically leave those figures as they are and just do your water adjustments every time. So I'm just finishing off, typing all these details in now. As you can see, I've got quite hard water here, and the pH is normally around 7, maybe sometimes even higher. Okay, so I've got all those details in the profile. I'm just going to transpose the water volumes now from BSBIF into this into these fields. And my estimated pH is about 5.43. So I'm just going to actually try to just bring that back a little bit so it's not too close. So I want it, so I'm just going to stick it about 3.5. Obviously it's quite a light beer, and there's not that many dark malts in it, but that's a good figure. I'm not going to bother sticking too much gypsum in this time, because there's enough minerals in the water to actually emphasise the bitterness and stuff. So I'm just actually going to take the gypsum out for now. Well, if I was making an IPA or an APA, I think I would actually ramp it up a bit more, but I'm looking for something more British, so that's what I'm doing. What you might see is my magnesium levels are quite low, so I've actually added on the water profile there, it's about 5, so I've added about 2 grams to bring it up to about 16, which is within the recommended ranges, which are on the bottom row there. Okay, so I think I'm quite happy with those figures. So what I'm going to do now, I'll quickly save this page, and I'll just quickly take these volumes now, which I've just written down, and pop them onto my notes as well. As you can see, the styling persists. Last thing I normally do, I normally stick about a milliliter of acid into my water, my sparge water, just to bring it down to around 6. Anyway, as you can see here, we've all the figures looking good. My colour's slightly lower, but it's got the right colour profile I'm after. And this is what I'm going to brew. Check out my next video, which is obviously a brew day, and I will link it from this video here. So we are. So those are the brew steps. Well, hopefully this has been helpful, and as I said, check out my brew day, which, well, hopefully will be successful. Well, it was successful.